Imagine waking up in a home that feels manageable, comfortable, and easy to enjoy. You step outside for a morning walk on a peaceful path, wave to neighbors who already know your name, and maybe later in the day you head to the pool, a fitness class, a card game, or lunch with friends just a short golf cart ride away. For a lot of people, that sounds like an exciting next chapter. Less upkeep, more convenience, more opportunities to be social, active, and connected. But now, imagine the other side of that same move. What if the home feels smaller than you expected? What if the rules feel more restrictive than freeing? What if the lifestyle looks great on the surface, but day to day it just does not feel like the right fit for you? That is exactly why active adult communities can be such a great option for some seniors and not the right option for others. In this video, I want to walk you through the real pros and cons of 55 plus active adult communities so you can look at this decision from every angle before making a move. Active adult communities, sometimes called 55 plus communities, have become increasingly popular with seniors who want an engaged lifestyle instead of a more traditional retirement experience. These communities can be age restricted, where at least 80% of the residents must be age 55 and older, or they can be age targeted, meaning they are designed with that age group in mind but do not always have the same strict residency rules. What I think is important here is that retirement today looks very different for many people. A lot of seniors are not looking to slow down. They are looking for convenience, connection, activities, and a home that supports the lifestyle they actually want. And this is clearly a growing segment. The market is projected to grow at more than 4% annually through 2030, and the active adult housing market was valued at $587 billion in 2022. It's also important to point out that typical communities often have about 140 to 180 units, with many individual homes or residences ranging from about 650 to 1,300 square feet. That alone gives you a pretty good snapshot. These communities are growing, they are in demand, and they are often designed around a simpler, more lifestyle-focused way of living. So let's talk about the pros. One of the biggest benefits is downsizing. For many seniors, moving into an active adult community can mean less upkeep, lower maintenance responsibilities, and fewer day-to-day expenses tied to a larger home. That can free up both time and energy for things that are a lot more enjoyable than yard work and household chores. Another major plus is the amenities. Depending on the community, that can mean pools, fitness centers, golf courses, walking trails, spas, art studios, gourmet kitchens, smart home features, and other conveniences that make daily life easier and more enjoyable. Then there is the social side. Many of these communities are built around activities and events that help residents connect with one another. That sense of community can be a huge benefit, especially for someone who wants more companionship, more routine, and more opportunities to get out and stay engaged. Safety is also a big reason people consider these communities. Many have gated access, secure entries, staffing, visitor approval procedures, and sometimes even on-site security. That added structure can offer real peace of mind. And then there is the low maintenance lifestyle. In many communities, exterior maintenance is covered through rent or association dues, which can make life a whole lot easier for someone who no longer wants to manage all of that alone. Now, with all of that said, there are also some very real cons to consider. First, many of the homes or units are smaller. That can absolutely be a benefit for some people, but it can also be a challenge if someone is moving from a long-time home filled with furniture, keepsakes, and family belongings. A move like this often requires real downsizing, not just in square footage, but in lifestyle. Another consideration is age diversity. While some people love being surrounded by peers in a similar season of life, others may find that they miss being around younger generations. Some residents may feel disconnected from that broader mix of ages and perspectives. There can also be restrictions that affect family living arrangements. In some 55 plus communities, younger household members may not be able to live there full time, and rules around home ownership, inheritance, or temporary living situations can create complications. So, if someone expects an adult child, grandchild, or other family member to potentially move in at some point, that needs to be carefully reviewed in advance. Another important point is that these communities generally are not designed for residents who need daily assistance or on site medical care. Home care can often be brought in through a third party, but that adds cost, and it is different from living in a setting that offers assisted living or healthcare support as part of the community itself. So, really, the question is not whether active adult communities are good or bad. The better question is whether they are the right fit for that person's lifestyle, independence, budget, and future plans. Now, let's talk about another important choice, and that is whether to rent or buy in a 55 plus community. Renting can be attractive because it usually does not require a large upfront investment. Monthly rent often includes amenities and services, which can make costs feel more predictable during the lease term. And renting can offer more flexibility if needs change, or if someone simply wants to try out the lifestyle before making a larger commitment. But renting also comes with trade offs. Rent can increase over time, lease terms can change, and if ownership of the community changes hands, residents may face uncertainty. That can affect both cost and stability. Buying, on the other hand, can provide more control, more permanence, and a stronger sense of stability. Owners may also have more freedom to personalize their home, and there may be tax benefits depending on the situation. But buying usually means upfront costs like a down payment and closing costs, plus ongoing responsibility for taxes, insurance, repairs, maintenance, and often HOA fees. For some seniors, renting first can be a smart way to test the waters before deciding whether buying makes sense. Now let's touch on something else that does not always get talked about enough, and that is the investment side of active adult communities. Yes, these communities can be very appealing. The amenities, lower upkeep, and lifestyle benefits are real. But there are also some factors that can affect long term value. One example is changing density. A community may feel spacious and comfortable at first, but if a developer adds more units without adding more amenities, that can change the overall experience over time. Another factor is newer construction. Over the past decade, many homeowners in active adult communities saw strong appreciation, but newer homes with more modern finishes and features may create competition for older properties. That means resale value may not always grow the way someone expects, and in some cases, older homes may even struggle or decline in value if buyers strongly prefer new construction. A really interesting point is the baby boom generation itself. With 78 million members and a good population curve that rises and then declines, future resale demand may shift over time. In other words, the number of future buyers may not stay as strong forever, which could affect values later on. And of course, every community has its own rules. Vehicle restrictions, occupancy rules, visitor policies, and age related requirements can all shape how practical the community really is for everyday life. That is why reviewing the rules up front is so important. A 71-year-old renter who explored this lifestyle for himself said he liked many of the features at first, including the pool, hot tub spa, fitness room, activities, and social offerings. But over time, he found the environment felt cliquey, some amenities were reduced, and the value began to feel different after the property changed ownership and rents were expected to rise. Eventually, he chose a different living environment that fit him better. And honestly, that story is such a good reminder that what looks perfect on paper is not always the perfect fit in real life. That is exactly why I always encourage seniors and their families to look at the whole picture, not just the home, not just the amenities, but also the rules, the monthly costs, the community culture, the long term plans, and how the move fits into the next chapter of life. And this is also where my SRES designation matters. SRES stands for Seniors Real Estate Specialist, and it is a designation created through the National Association of Realtors. It means I have additional training focused on helping seniors and their families navigate real estate decisions that often come with more moving parts than a traditional move. For seniors looking to make a move, that can mean having someone by your side who understands downsizing conversations, lifestyle changes, long term planning, housing options, and the emotional side of leaving a long-time home. My goal is not to push someone into a move. My goal is to help make sure the move truly fits. If you are considering a 55 plus active adult community and you are not quite sure whether this is the right next step, I would be happy to talk through your options with you. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.